and welcome once again to 12 Steps to Poker Heaven, the series that allows you to become a better poker player. I'm Carmel Thomas, and with me today I have the one and only poker master, Mr. Grub Smith.
Hey there, Carmel.
How are you today?
I'm happy as a clam.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us again today.
My pleasure.
Now, as we all know, over the last few years, poker has absolutely exploded. It's played worldwide in pubs, in clubs, in back rooms and in front rooms as well. In this series, we cover the rules of poker, the art of bluffing as well. And in last episode, we covered heads-up play.
Yeah, that's a very important part of the game. Hopefully, if you watch the show, you're going to be a winning poker player, in which case you're going to find yourself playing a lot of heads-up. That's when you get to the end of a tournament and it's just you against one other person for the title.
Well, today is the battle of the sciences. Let's find out exactly what that means.
That's right, Carmel. We're going to begin with step 9, the psychology of poker. Poker's a mental game. You really do have to get inside your opponent's head to work out what he's thinking and to know what he thinks you're thinking. Sounds complicated, but it is crucial. We'll also have a little section on game theory. That's a very useful skill if you're playing someone who you think is better at poker than you are. Then we'll move on to step 10, the mathematics of poker. Essentially, this is like learning to be a bookmaker, working out whether you're getting the right odds to call or to raise or to bet. Vital if you're going to make money.
So, Grub, where exactly does psychology come in when playing poker?
Well, it's not a question of being laid out on a couch and looking at Rorschach blots. But poker is a game which does reveal your character. If you're a courageous person, you'll play aggressively, you won't be bullied. If you're a weak and timid person in your real life, you'll probably play poker in exactly the same way. And
right.
You'll let yourself be pushed around. And watching your opponents and learning exactly which psychological profile they fit into. And remember, it can change from day to day and from situation to situation. Somebody can become angry and play more aggressively. So you have to be observant all the time. But once you've got them taped, then you can exploit that knowledge and get chips off them.
That's really interesting, Grub, but how do you stop your opponents from using the same trick on you?
You make a good point, Carmel. Obviously, you don't want to be easily read. You don't want your opponents to have an accurate psychological profile of the sort of person you are. So what you do is use smoke and mirrors. You use tactics to unsettle them so that they can't pin you down like a butterfly on a board. Sometimes you'll play a hand really weakly, so they'll think this guy can be picked on. But that's just what's called advertising. Sometimes, again, you might play a hand really badly and actually show the rubbish cards you were chasing a draw with. You don't want it to be a very expensive hand, but just enough for people to get a mental picture of you as someone who's a bit loose, someone who's a chaser, someone who's, frankly, a bit of a fish, by which we mean in poker, of course, an idiot. Having laid the trap, having put the big tempting piece of cheese in the rat trap, you can then play the next hand or the next few hands very, very sensibly, and when you do bet, they're going to think, easy pickings. But nothing could be further from the truth, because, of course, you've moved your psychological profile, and now you're ready to snap the trap shut.
What type of psychological devices can you use to get into your opponent's head?
Well, they usually involve talking. Now, the first one is to ask people questions. You're looking across at a player, and you can say to him, tell me what you've got. Now, he's not going to tell you what his cards are, but he'll think, well, hang on. And then if you say, I bet you've got a pair of jacks or whatever, he might look at his cards and go, and you'll see fear in his eyes if you've guessed it right. That's one good way of unsettling someone. The next one is to talk a lot, because when people are at a poker table, they're making complex mathematical and psychological decisions. They're thinking about what's happened in the hand, they're working out the pot odds, all the things we're going to learn about today. And if you're yapping away in their ear like a little lap dog, yap, they can't think straight. And that, of course, is going to unsettle them. Similarly, on the internet, you can type stuff into the chat box and they'll look away from their cards and start reading what you've written, and suddenly their time's running out. These little things can give you a tiny edge. The third one, and perhaps the hardest to do, because you might get punched in the face, is to be very aggressive and to be rude to people. There's an American player called Mike Matusow, also another one, very famous player called Phil Hellmuth, who used this to put other players on what we call tilt. They'll sit there insulting the way they play. They'll say, you played that hand so badly, you are lucky, or no wonder you're losing, or if you call this, I'm going to beat you. Again, it's a very aggressive type of poker player, and you probably wouldn't want to have a drink with these guys or sit next to them on a long train journey, but very effectively they put their opponents on what we call tilt. And tilt is when you get so frustrated or angry as a poker player that you forget the correct way of playing and you're just playing on raw emotion. Now,